Rogue Element 2024 Critical Drinkers Movie. As many people know, Will Jordan aka Critical Drinker is an outspoken critic about Hollywood and the film industry. His videos are alcohol-induced rants where he expresses his disdain for modern films for their bad quality, unlikable characters, and bad storytelling, among other things. I don't agree with everything he says, but of course, given his popularity on YouTube, what he has to say resonates with a lot of people. Overall, he's a funny guy with a deep voice and a Scottish accent. What's not to like? When I learned Critical Drinker was a novelist, the first thing I did was buy one of his books, Redemption, the first of his Ryan Drake series. Redemption was an addictive read. This proved to me that Will Jordan can indeed write a good story. It's a military action thriller with captivating characters and a story that kept you on the edge. I couldn't put it down. The second book was nowhere near as good though, so I gave the rest of the book series a miss. So, when I learned that he was making a movie on Kickstarter, I was sold. I donated some money to him. At least he put his money where his mouth is and made the kind of movie that he would have liked. Making a movie is not easy, even low-budget ones. Henceforth, he brings out rogue elements. Is the movie any good? Overall, yes. However, like everything else, it has its pros and cons. So let's go over them. The pros. The action scenes and the stunts were very good. Surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting such professionalism in a low-budget movie. They delivered well. The violence and the gore is excellent. The sound design that accompanied them was top-notch. The casting of Anya is perfect. I could not have picked anyone better. Can't say the same for Ryan Drake himself though, but I'll get back to that later. The editing was pretty good. For example, the bit in the beginning of the movie where the camera moves around Anya and cuts from the present to the past, that was pretty good. The music is good in some places. It suited the mood of the movie. Well, most of it anyway. The cinematography is good. There were camera angles that I liked. It made some scenes interesting by giving it some variety. The cons. The story didn't make sense. In a nutshell, a three-man army called the Shepherds bust into a building to rescue a hostage who has knowledge about something. That's it. That's all it should have been. Everything before and after that gets confusing. At the same time, the protagonist, Ryan Drake, is trying to get revenge on the guy who killed the guy who trained him. Or was he an old friend of his? I'm not sure. There are bits and pieces that should have been kept out of the script because I think there were references to the books that they wanted to include, but they really should not have been there. They should have just kept the story simple. It would have been a lot better to just make this movie focus on a rescue mission with lots of action in it. There is a combat scene where a woman fights a guy twice her size. That wasn't convincing to me. He could have easily killed her with his bare hands. In case you are wondering who I'm referring to, it's the Kiera Frost character. I cannot stand this character. She was annoying throughout this movie as well as in the books. It's the very sort of thing that Critical Drinker would have disliked, and yet he put it in one of his own books and movies? Yeah, that makes no sense. The dialogue is cheesy in some places. It was hard to take the movie seriously because of them, but at least they were few and far between, which is forgivable. Maybe it was for some comic relief. Who knows? There could have been some more action scenes and less dialogue. I think it would have been better with some more combat in it. The visuals? What annoys me about a lot of movies these days is the overuse of the orange-yellow filter. Why not just show the movie as it is without having to saturate the colors into some narrow color scheme? Oh well, what's done is done. There were times when the music was trying to sound epic in places where nothing was happening. It gave off an impression that it was trying too hard. It would have been better if it had some uplifting rock music like a proper action movie. Maybe even some fast-paced techno music would have helped, like the ones in the 90s. It tried to come across all dark and moody, which is off-putting. Lastly, as I mentioned earlier, the casting of Ryan Drake was a misstep. I was expecting someone who looks like Tom Hardy to be Ryan Drake. The actor did not resemble how I imagined him to be in the books. Some of the minor characters looked more badass than him. They should have used one of them to be Ryan Drake instead. Do keep in mind that this film cost £303,000 to make, with the help of 5,212 backers who donated to this project, including myself. As the saying goes, put your money where your mouth is. Critical Drinker delivered. Having bashed many Hollywood movies over the years, it only makes sense to make one of your own. And he did. If this is what he can do with a low budget, imagine what he can do with more. I mean, this short film is still way more interesting than any action movie that comes out today. I'd rather watch a 40-minute long action movie with a bad story rather than some film with a bloated runtime containing little to no action scenes at all, without any socio-political propaganda. I want to be entertained, not lectured. This short movie is the exact sort of counterculture we need right now. Just get a good story, remove the cliches, bring on the action, pump some testosterone into it, then you have something solid. Overall, this film felt like a homage to one of those cheesy action movies from the 90s. It wasn't completely uplifting, but there is good action you can enjoy. Of course, it isn't perfect, at least it's short but sweet. My verdict? Watch it. You can watch the movie for free here on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description. Thank you for listening. Take good care of yourselves.